There's supposed to be a demo for Pikmin 4 today on Nintendo Switch. I was gonna play it, and at the same time, I was told there's supposed to be some kind of crossover where you get a costume in Pikmin Bloom. So let's try to do all this, I guess, today. I'm still waiting actually for it to be downloaded. Just to note, I actually got very little notice in terms of this Pikmin Bloom and Pikmin 4 crossover. I wanted to play the game and at the same time record something for those who played Pikmin Bloom but actually never played the main Pikmin series, so I thought it'd be fun. So with the short notice, I thought I'd just do some commentary over some gameplay and at the same time try not to reveal everything for those who actually want to play the demo themselves. So once you boot up the game, you see the title and almost immediately you'll see there's the instructions there on what you need to complete in this demo to unlock the costume in Pikmin Bloom, and in this case it's 1500 units of Sparklium, which is kind of like fuel I guess in the game, which we'll get into in a bit. In the beginning they show you a bit of an introduction in terms of the character from Pikmin 1, which was this guy Olimar, who had his ship crash, and your goal was to basically collect all your ship parts to, I guess, leave the island. And to help him were these Pikmin. I was actually wondering why his voice is so deep in this intro, actually. So when the game starts off, at first I was kind of surprised. I was like, what's this? You're inside like a house or something? Because I'm actually used to the series being more, I guess, of the outdoors. It's very nature-esque. Although this seemed like it was more of an introduction, I guess, in terms of what's going on in the story. So you can see here at first, here's the Pikmin, and they're red ones, and your goal in the beginning is to simply collect all the Pikmins so you can use the whistle and they'll all come to you. And so the mystery is apparently he doesn't know why these Pikmin just ran away, like they're scared or whatever all of a sudden. It was pretty basic overall. And as well, you can use this pet you can see here ramming into various objects. It's kind of interesting because in the other series you'd primarily just use the Pikmin, and there was a really quick battle in the beginning here, pretty straightforward for those who just want to pass it. Just wait until all the spikes are gone, and then once you're ready, attack it, and that's about it. Just wait for the Pikmin to whack it. So for those who don't know too, like again, that play Pikmin Bloom, this is how the main series is like, where you send these little Pikmin to go after enemies and various objects they can collect. And this was the other surprise, because I was actually expecting to play something like that Olimar character, but apparently the twist is you're going to be, for example, one of the rescuers. I actually didn't really know what to make, so I just kind of made anything, and here you go. You start off, and this is what I'm more familiar with. It seems more like a forest, for example, more nature-like. I have to say, this thing is really cute, isn't it? This is actually what I was wondering before too. Will they implement this into Pikmin Bloom, for example? And I think it's safe to say everything that you see in this game will end up in the Bloom app as well. And at first I was just going around like here, you can let the dog do the work. Normally in the other games you let the Pikmin do it, but I guess in this game you start off with this guy. And as you can see, here's one of the lost crew members, so that'll be some of your tasks that you would have to accomplish in the beginning, which is to find these guys. And afterwards you'll find these areas that you can explore further. They're kind of like dungeons in games. Overall, to my understanding too, you're supposed to normally rush through the day because there's a time limit, but in these areas there's actually no time limit, so you can spend all the time that you want to explore, which is kind of good actually. And you can see here this is kind of interesting too. There's a lot of story to this game, as you can see. And in the beginning here, you're still gonna start off with your little dog. I don't know, there's something about the sound effects and stuff. They're really cute, I guess. It's kind of cool too, like you can see here where you can actually use the dog to do various attacks as well, which is a nice change of pace, I guess, in terms of the Pikmin franchise, because normally, as mentioned, you just use Pikmin normally to do everything. So it's kind of neat to have that variety where you can ride the dog and use it to attack and collect items as well. And once you finish, I guess this flag there will show you, I guess you completed it 100%, so there isn't really a need to go back in. And as the story goes, you discover the ship, but then, as you would expect, something's wrong and you can't take off. So in order to take off, basically you're gonna have to collect these items that you find around in the world. Like this one here, I guess, what is it? Like a fork, for example? And this is kind of like, again, how the main series was like initially, where you need to use Pikmin to carry it over, and once it puts it into the machine and so forth, you basically collect the item. And as you can see, once you collect the item, that's how you increase your energy here. At first, you can see here, you can try to get to various objects at times by trying to walk certain paths. I just kept trying to jump, for example. I'm just so used to other games. But as you can see, you basically bring these items back to your initial pod here. And in this case, you can see this is what's called the onion. And that's what's known in the series as something that carries the Pikmin. In this case, it's red, so I guess you know what to expect. The red Pikmin, as you can see. And afterwards, you go up to it and you pluck it out. So again, for those who only played Pikmin Bloom, you can kind of see how the main series is like. Again, I think this game's really cute too, so if you're really into this type of presentation, I think that's one of the fun things about the series in general. And so with your Pikmin, you can basically send it to attack objects and bring those objects back, because when you do so, you can actually make more Pikmin. So like those numbers too, that's supposed to indicate how many Pikmin you need to carry the item back. So again, if you play Bloom, this is kind of where the whole concept came from in terms of how much Pikmin you'll actually need to send out there. And this is one of the things I really liked about the series too, just discovering items where some of them are obvious stuff that you should recognize. For example, if you're a Nintendo fan, maybe you'll know what this is immediately. I did, for example. It was their portable system, for example, the Game Boy SP. So it's kind of nice just to see these types of items in the game that you can collect. So again, every object, the bigger it is, they're usually heavier, so it requires more Pikmin for you to bring it back. I don't know, I just find it really fun to see stuff like this in a game. And it goes and you get more energy. Almost there. And by the end of it, basically everything is going to calculate and it'll allow you to progress through this demo. Pretty basic, but again, I think it's pretty fun overall thus far from what I've tried. So with that, you can now explore more areas, and you can see here, basically I had more Pikmin, and you can actually have your dog try to find other lost crew members. And again, there's more objects you can send your Pikmin to attack, for example, like here. I always find this hilarious with the game, how you have so many Pikmin whacking stuff. I know in Bloom it's always the mushrooms and so forth, but this is an example how I hope to see these types of variety in the Bloom app as well. And another cavern. What would you expect to find here? I guess just from previous experiences, you'd expect to find new items, and maybe just with the way everything was progressing, you'd find new Pikmin as well, which was actually one of the surprising things that you'll see eventually. And here, you guys know what this is, nectar. So basically this is how it was designed for the game. When the Pikmin drink these nectar, they'll start growing flowers on their buds, and that's supposed to make them faster and stronger, as an example. So this was actually an interesting encounter. When I saw it here, there was Pikmin here, blue ones. Originally, the original blue ones, they're resistant to things like water, they can swim, whereas these ones, they were ice ones. And it's kind of neat, like here, you can actually use the dog to battle too, and different Pikmin are actually resistant to different types of elements. But again, it was kind of surprising to see the ice one, because I was expecting to see all the original ones first, for example, the red, blue, and the yellow. So it was kind of neat to see this, and it actually has some strategy to the game, which you'll see in a bit. And there are some puzzle elements, if that's what you want to call it, in this game too. For example, trying to figure out how to get to one place to another. Or here, you see a blue object. If you send the red Pikmin there, it's not going to do anything. You can see this. Poor little guy, huh? Just whacking away at it and nothing's happening. But then afterwards, if you bring the blue Pikmins, for example, you can see they freeze it at first, and then you use the red ones to attack them. So again, everything is resistant to different elements, or like here, not everything's resistant to fire. And there, the dog's going crazy because, oh, I got burned. So again, it's kind of an interesting type of gameplay element to it. You can send, for example, the ice ones to freeze it first, and then send others to actually attack it. I think it's kind of interesting in terms of the gameplay dynamics in that sense. These are the guys actually I was hoping to see in Pikmin Bloom. The Bulbors, these are kind of the main enemies, in my opinion, of Pikmin. So could you imagine having these type of Pikmin in Pikmin Bloom? Would you want those type of enemies to be around the map, for example? And as you can see here, this is kind of like the original series. You have to actually leave the stage within a certain amount of time. If you don't, then the Pikmin will get abandoned and you actually lose them. So when it comes to about the nighttime, you have to get back to your ship, for example, and then start to head out and then come back in the morning. You actually don't have to do this, but I have a habit of dumping all the Pikmin back into the onion. But to my knowledge from the original games, as long as they're within your little circle, for example, at the end of the day, then they'll all go back to the onion. You won't lose anyone. And usually there's an animation at the end where if you left some behind, they'll get attacked by enemies and all that. It's like kind of cruel. And it's neat to see this too. Apparently you can upgrade, for example, your pet's skill, or at the same time, I guess, get new gears. That's kind of neat too, I guess, for more gameplay variety. And afterwards, for some reason, the dog grew up really fast. Now you can actually jump. So that's kind of interesting. And once you get more abilities, you can actually explore different areas. And you can see here, for example, all of a sudden, I discovered the yellow Pikmin. In the original series, they were actually resistant to electricity and so forth, which seems to be the case in this game as well. So like here, as you can see, you can get the items that are higher above. It's kind of interesting how there's a skateboard, considering the event that was in Pikmin Bloom recently, huh? And here was one thing too, I was throwing them everywhere thinking you have to go to that little nectar thing, but I accidentally threw the Pikmin off the ledge. I was like, oh no! That was my first, I guess, sacrifice of Pikmin. Even they had a comment here, poor little Pikmin. So there's a warning for those who are playing the demo. Don't throw them off the cliff. And as you can see here, I saw something that was electric, and my assumption was you throw the yellow Pikmin there, which is the case. And you can see with the yellow Pikmin, now you can go to your previous areas and explore different places. Like since here you can throw them higher, you're able to collect this item afterwards. Or same thing, if you saw different electric, for example, gates, then you can use them to knock it out. At the end, I was almost there in terms of the energy, as you can see here, just bringing back this last item, and then with that I was able to complete, I guess, the 1500 energy required to unlock the costume for the Pikmin Bloom. Overall, this game was actually pretty fun. I'm looking forward to playing actually the full game as well. And once you finish, they basically tell you you've unlocked, I guess, the bonus, and they give you some instructions, which is basically linking to the My Nintendo site. So you basically just log in there at first and try to find the Pikmin 4 listings. It'll look like this, so just look at that, click on the item, and then afterwards you can redeem it for a code. So with the code you can actually do it, for example, with the link, and then you enter in your code, and then once you enter in your code, you should get the item in the app. It'll just pop up like you can see here. It's actually really cute, I thought, because in this one actually it looks like you're actually riding it too. So that's about it. Just play the demo for fun, and then you'll unlock something cool for Pikmin Bloom as well. I'm assuming there will be a lot more crossovers too that you can expect, but either way, I just thought I'd make a quick video of sorts to show everyone who has played Pikmin Bloom but not the main series what it's like. At the same time, you can try it out too. The demo's out there for you to download, and you'll have fun, I guess, with both the app and the main series game.